There's been some criticism that this channel only highlights negative encounters. Those of you who have been around a while know that this is simply not true. The majority of our over 400 uploads are positive, neutral, or simply educational. This is one of the positive ones. While Stephanie started out a little rough, she went out of her way to come out the following day and seemed to find a lot of common ground with Mike.
On Thursday, April 13th, 2023, Mike held a sign protesting the vet center and their corrupt staff while standing in the grass near the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and East 9th Street. This intersection is adjacent to the polling place located in the senior center in Lynn Haven, Florida. Even though the polls would close in just a few minutes, some people came out claiming to be poll workers and confronted Mike about his sign usage near the polling place.
From the entrance to the polling place.
Who are you?
I am the manager of the polling place.
Okay, what's your name?
Stephanie Cantrell.
All right.
You have to be 150 feet away from the polling place.
Why is that?
It's the law. It's the law in Florida. You have to be 150
For soliciting, right?
For soliciting or campaigning or anything.
I'm not campaigning or soliciting.
You have to be 150 feet away from the polling place
I'm protesting.
You can't protest within 150 feet of the polling place.
But that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to have to call the police.
So you don't respect the First Amendment?
I respect the laws of the state of Florida, and the law in the state of Florida says that you have to be 150 feet away.
Which one's superior, the law of the state of Florida or the First Amendment?
All right, I'm going to go.
Doesn't the Constitution have supremacy clause? Yeah.
I have the supervisor of election on the phone. Would
Okay.
you like to speak to him, please?
About what?
About what you're doing.
Sure.
All right. Here you go.
Whoa, don't touch me.
Do you not want to speak with him?
No, I'll speak to him.
All right, here's the phone.
Can you put him on speaker?
All right, let me see if I can... Are you there, Mark? I'm trying to figure out how to put this thing on speaker. Are you there now? I don't know how to put this phone on speaker because it's an old phone.
You want me to take it?
Yep, absolutely.
Hello? Yeah, hey, what's up, Mark? If I wanted to go in and make sure that the counting of the ballot, or I can go in and be a spectator for that? All right, cool. I think I'm gonna go do that. All right, thanks, Mark. All right, bye. Here you go. Yeah, we're gonna go make sure that you guys are doing the right thing with it.
Mike returned the following day with another sign and had this conversation with the polling place supervisor, Stephanie.
How are you this morning?
Hey, how are you?
So tell me what the vet center didn't do.
Oh, the vet center didn't. They didn't have any service. So I went on March 7th to get service. After finding out that they exist, I didn't even know the vet center was a thing. I mean, I've been enrolled in the VA for like a decade.
Yeah.
And I have. There's a monthly support group for the visually impaired, and that day we had our support group around 1, and we had a guest speaker, and it's all like online or I'll be the phone. We had a guest speaker from the Pensacola Vet Center, and they told us about it, what services they offer. And so I said, hey, is there something closer to me? And so yeah, there's one in Panama City. So I Googled it and got the address, and it's just down the road on Minnesota Avenue here in Lynn Haven, and called them and said, hey, do you have the same services as Pensacola? They said, yeah, pretty much. And how do I get enrolled? They said, we do take walk-ins till 4:30. So I got dropped off right before 4, went in within a few minutes. The lady came in behind me from the street, stole my equipment that's issued by the VA. Like, this is issued by the blind rehab.
Oh,
and it actually says, assistive technology don't touch.
Right.
She took it and left the building, like, and then called the cops, called Lynn Haven Police on me. And
Oh my God.
so Lynn Haven shows up with four people because she called and another counselor in the back called, and they're like, you know, claiming that I'm yelling, and I'm just sitting in a chair, like saying, "Give me my things back! Don't steal from me!" And this is all recorded. Yeah, so it's all on video, and the police show up, which they don't even have jurisdiction because it's federal property.
Right.
And I'm like, "Hey, do you guys have jurisdiction here? Do you have?" They may have a memorandum of understanding, like with the federal police or the VA police, but they didn't. And that didn't stop them from conspiring with the local vet staff to trespass me criminally and not cite the lady that stole my equipment. They recovered my equipment and gave it back to me. And on the phone, on the 911 calls, because we got that back from records requests, both of the ladies that called admitted that one of their staff members took my equipment, and then she confessed it in person to the police officers. And they're like, "Yeah, okay, what do you want me to do to this guy?" And then they, like, you know, try to criminalize me for trying to get service. So been trying to get service since that, you know, March 7th. Talked like up the chain through the different directors and, you know, doing complaints, and they scheduled me with another counselor, Brian, and that was the 4th, so that was last Tuesday. But they closed down this location, so they shut the doors, they locked it. They said because they were getting high call volume from people around the world calling and complaining, like redressing grievances, like protesting, you know, via the First Amendment. And so Brian says that they're working out of this clinic, one of the clinics in Panama City Beach. So there's two.
Yeah.
There's the east side and the west side. The east side is the main one. So they said we did an appointment for the west side one, the annex, and he said that's where they're working out of, which turns out to be false, like not true. They're not working out of there. It was a setup, like because they had security on hand, and so when I went to that appointment, security came out and confronted me, said I had to put on a mask. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, the VA's changed its policy, the CDC's changed its guidelines. Setting that aside, like I have a medical exemption for a mask. Like,
Yeah.
so that guy called the VA police, and then, like, you know, Brian finally came out for the appointment, and he was doing the same thing. And he said, "You have to wear this, or I'm not going to see you." And I'm like, "Wear what? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, "I'm blind, Brian. Like, I don't know if you noticed the cane." And he's like, "Oh, this mask or this shield." I'm like, "Okay, well, no, I can't because of medical exemption. Like, can we meet outside? Like that's an accommodation you can make. We can meet outside. We're just talking. Like, it's a counseling appointment, you know." And he's like, "No, I can't do that." I'm like, "Why?
Yeah.
Is there a policy? Like, and if there is, can you produce the policy?" And he's like, "We can't do that." Like, okay, well, that's not cool. And then he said that I couldn't record him. I'm like, "Well, this is a public lobby. You're a public servant. Like, I absolutely can record you." Like, and setting that aside, that's the First Amendment issue. Like, I record because I'm blind and I have memory loss. Like, so I can't be a witness essentially,
Yeah.
Unless I have recording. And yeah, he was denying me service, even though I talked to, like, his boss's boss, like the District 2 director that's over all of these southeastern United States, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, like the day before. That guy's name is Dudley. I talked to him and he's like, "Yeah, you know, this should be fine. You go in, you can have your DD 214 in hand, like, and have your full social redacted for that, you know, because I have a privacy concern with that. Because any information that they've gotten from me, they immediately turned and gave them to the police here, and one of the counselors gave it to the police in Panama City Beach, which is a violation of HIPAA and privacy law."
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I've got serious privacy concerns with these counselors, you know. And so the director, like, over the entire Southeast U.S. said, "Don't worry, you can redact it. You don't have to actually give him a copy of the DD-14. He just needs to look and see that you are a combat vet and see, okay, here's your deployment here and here's your deployment here, you're good." I'm like, "Great." So that's just like a 5-second look or whatever. So I produced that because Brian, he didn't even offer the VA police did through the security guard on the phone. He said, "Hey, can you guys do it over the phone?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine with me." And Brian's like, "Yeah, that's fine. I just need to see your DD-14. I'm like, "All right, cool." So I pulled it out of my bag. It's like, "Here you go, you can look at it." So I need to take it and make a copy. I'm like, "But you don't." Like, I literally just talked to your boss's boss, like, and he said, "You don't. You just need to confirm something, and then we can talk." And he's like, "Nope, I'm not going to do it." But, like, in that conversation, I asked, before I even pulled it out, or as I was getting it out, I was like, "Yeah, did you talk to, you know, Director Dudley?" And he's like, "No, that's way above my pay grade." I'm like, "Okay." Well, he said he was going to make sure that you guys were informed I was going to come in. This is an agreement that we had. So when I produced it, and I refused to let him take it and make a copy because I think he's going to take it and, like, you know, do whatever with it.
So, do you are you registered with the VA and have a VA ID card?
Yep,
and
yep,
all that?
Yep, and I produced that to the local director. And that's why red flags went off.
still-
Yeah. That's why red flags went off when he said, they're like, "No, we want a copy of the DD-14. I'm like, "No, you don't." Like, I've done all the eligibility requirements according to your head director.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. If you have a VA ID card.
Yeah, I already gave it to them. Like, and you know, they took it all down. And so
I'm a disabled veteran.
Okay.
So, and I've been through all this VA crap.
It's infuriating.
It is. It really is.
And like the retaliation is like unacceptable. And people need to know this is what the vet centers are doing. We literally got an email this morning before coming out from a source within the vet center in the national level who wants to remain anonymous. And she was like, hey, they're trying to spin this to say, you know, there's like this stuff put out, beware of people calling and recording to try to for ill intent, you know. And it's like
yeah, when I was first retired, I was in the Air Force. When I was first retired from the Air Force and I went to go do my disability paperwork, I didn't even do it here in town because there's nobody here qualified or certified to do VA paperwork. So I ended up going down to Melbourne, Florida, to a DAV down there, and they had somebody that was certified to do the paperwork, and they did all my paperwork for me. And I wouldn't have done it with this vet center here anyway because they're worthless.
Yeah, it's bad. Like as we continue, it's only been like a little bit over a month, but we're trying to do our best to investigate, and we're getting people coming out and coming forward as whistleblowers, both within and as VA veterans, like patients and stuff. And the lady that stole my equipment, her name's September Sims. We found out that whenever she first started working there, she was assigned a handful of veterans from other counselors. You know, they shifted the workload, and within 5 weeks, like 3 of those veterans attempted suicide. Like after being, so it's like there's a lot of problems. But the communication we got this morning is that they're essentially told all the local workers there at this vet center that they're not working there anymore except for the local director. And it's like, okay, how are you providing services then? Like, you know.
Yeah, I have to say the VA services around here are crappy.
Yeah,
and that's just all there is to it.
Now, did we talk yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're with the polling place?
Office.
Okay.
And you talked to Mark on the phone yesterday afternoon. And
are we good?
we're good.
Okay. As long as I'm not like electioneering, right? I'm not trying to influence like.
We are good.
Okay, all right.
We are absolutely good.
All right.
So I just wanted to come out and see what the vet center was not doing for you because I've lived that.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. Like I have PTSD from war, but I also have like PTSD from trying to deal with the government. And I've been beaten down by the cops and like knocked unconscious and just for going to try to get services at a health department. Yeah. And so like when they showed up with 4 cops, and I'm like, you don't even have jurisdiction here. Like you're literally threatening my life, you know? Yeah. So hence the vest. Like it's like it's bad. And when I tried to redress grievances with the police chief, he basically denied it ever happened. Like he's like, no, they didn't trespass you. I'm like, dude, like I've got like 4 different video angles of them saying you're trespassed. If you come back, we'll go arrest you. I'm like,
All right. Well, have a good day.
What was your name again?
Stephanie.
Stephanie. All right. I'll give you a fist bump. Thanks, Stephanie.
Hope things get better for you.
Yeah.
They can't get worse, do you think?
I think they can always get worse.
Yeah.
I used to have that motto in the military, like, you know, especially when like it's really bad, you know, like, and guys are sucking right next to you, and you're like, well, at least we're sucking together, but it can always get worse, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It can always get worse.
Well, you have a lovely day.
All right, Stephanie, you too.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Thanks for watching. De Oppresso Liber.